One of the biggest issues we see or hear from both CEOs, heads of government, social sector leaders is leadership, or rather the lack of it. It doesn't matter actually whether you're running a very large multinational corporation or you're running a localized business. At all levels, we've found the leadership challenge exists.
A CEO cannot succeed without leadership. Let me put it that way. Because the CEO's role is all about leadership. Right from the context of setting the agenda. You set the agenda, understanding the context of the environment and things that are happening around you. And now more than ever, you need to have that peep into the future to set your agenda. Then how do you lead within the organization? How do you look at all the stakeholders that in one way or the other you need to make sure get their due. So I would think that leadership in every facet of whatever he does, I think is key to what a CEO does and how he succeeds.
People do change, contrary to what we previously thought and believed, that change is not possible after a certain age. We now know that it is, and that people can make substantial changes in their behaviors.
Talking about myself, yes, I did have to bring about some dramatic changes in myself, because especially in my case where I came from a completely different discipline, where I was trained to be a lawyer, I worked as a lawyer, and then came on to head a business. I think patience is something that I had to learn a lot and focus on what really needs to get done.
I think the best way to develop leaders is to give them surmountable challenges. So it has to be demanding but not impossible. Slightly impossible would be maybe the term I would use. Because one learns best in actual work, but you need to be able to go from action to reflection. And you need to be able to draw some lessons from what you did, what worked and what didn't work. And who do you need? How do you compose a team? Who is contributing? Who is making up for your weaknesses? Who is just basically mirroring what you also do?
%70 of all leadership development programs in this country fail. Our approach is different. We believe everyone can change and that leadership development must deliver business results. 3 principles guide our approach. Number 1, development happens through deep self-awareness. Number 2, learning happens by doing and with strong feedback loops. Number 3, leadership development must happen in the context of business challenges.
In people who moved from being good to great or really worked on themselves to become better leaders is the enormous self-awareness that they have. They have a clear view of what their weaknesses are and what their strengths are. And they are able to leverage their strengths, cover their weaknesses or somehow overcome their weaknesses through others or through actions from others and create positive impact.
And I think once you can spot the talent, then you take them through various divisions of the company, send them to various programs for development, and then see how their performance is.
Leadership development is not about just knowledge and skills. At the end of the day, behaviors beget performance and mindsets drive behaviors. We spend a lot of effort in trying to understand mindsets and shift them.
In terms of mindsets, I think the attitude with which one approaches a role, any role, and in whatever stage of leadership that you might be in, is extremely important. I think that makes or breaks the effectiveness of a true leader. The two big risks to effective leadership that I have seen, and in other words, the mindset that comes in the way, is if someone is close to learning, if someone is already arrogant or complacent in what they have achieved. I think that arrogance and complacency is probably the two biggest risks to any individual or an organization. And a mindset that is closed to new ideas, fresh thinking, being challenged, that is where the biggest pitfall lies.
We have really two sets of, call it, programs or approaches. One is what we do at, as I said, at a company level, which is a customized approach to develop the leadership capacity that is uniquely required to meet the aspirations and the strategy of that company. Typically that requires two things. It requires taking the target audience, whether it's the top team or the top 50 or the top 100 people, through a very structured leadership journey, which is a combination of both in-room training and coaching in the context of real breakthrough projects. And on top of that, we do changes and adjustments to the leadership systems in the company. So that is as far as the institutional leadership capacity building is concerned. On the other side, when it comes to the CEOs, I think the way we are approaching that for now, at least, is really through creating these forums, which are roughly 2 to 2.5 days, where we bring groups of 4 to 5 CEOs along with a global CEO who's had the experience of, frankly, building something at a global scale. And we create a very intimate environment where we really engage and connect and learn from each other on the issues that are of concern to those CEOs.
I think the best thing that the Mckinsey Leadership Institute does through the Bauer Forum that I was fortunate enough to be participating in, firstly, it builds a very open, transparent and honest and yet truly confidential environment in which business leaders, my peers, we can share thoughts, our problems, our vulnerabilities and get solutions from fellow business leaders. The faculty is not there for evaluation. Being a leader is a very lonely job. For the job, you can get a lot of people to surround you to help you with the problem. But ultimately, when you have to take a decision, you're alone. So when something like a Bauer Forum comes up, it's been 3 weeks since I finished the Bauer Forum and still already I've chatted with my Bauer Forum alumni, the people that I met there. We discussed that, this is going on and they want to know what's going on further, what can be done, even helping each other's business.
Feedback uniformly has been very positive and people are grateful for the experience. That said, you would have to say, and now what? Do they change their behavior? Have they been able to fix one or the other issue? We've had one Bauer Forum where we did a repeat a year later, and it was very interesting to see, how they had handled the various issues they were dealing with, and it was quite positive.
So when I walk in the morning, I see energy, I see positivity, I see a high achievement orientation. So these are some of the things that are evident in an atmosphere where there's good leadership.
Leadership development is a fundamental part of our offering to clients around the world. I'm delighted that we are establishing the McKinsey India Leadership Institute, which we hope will further enhance and grow the great leaders that are in India, helping build institutions and the country of India itself. Please join me in wishing my colleagues the best in establishing this institution.